Welcome to this sixth episode of the L-DIH Talks webinar. Today we talk about design thinking and agile methods for digital transformation, and particularly in the manufacturing field. So first, a few tips that I have to communicate to you. So this webinar is recorded as usual, and the replay will be available on the Lux Innovation YouTube channel. On the right of your screen, you'll have 4 tabs. The first one is dedicated to chatting, basically presenting yourself to the audience and things like that. The second one, it's very important that you use it for all your questions to the speakers, because I will use it to moderate at the end and to ask you to pass your question actually to our speaker of the day. Third tab is about polling, and you'll have one poll during the session. You will be invited to answer it through this tab. So technology is the answer, but what was the question actually? The webinar of today aims at discovering how design thinking in manufacturing can be a game changer for your company. And together with our 3 speakers, we'll see how design thinking can dramatically cut initial design and alignment costs by 60%, making your processes more efficient. And we'll also try to understand why companies using this methodology are twice as likely to introduce new products and 3.2 times more likely to achieve their business goals. Let's start this exploration on how fostering a culture of creativity, collaboration, and user centricity drives innovation, allowing manufacturers to create products that are not only functional, but also emotionally engaging. So, without further ado, let's give the floor to Dominique Brogard. Dominique is the co-founder and co-director of Cryos, a software factory with offices in Luxembourg and the United States, specializing in building digital products. With his background in IT, his problem-solving mindset, and his passion for user-centric UI/UX design, he plays an integral role not only in the strategic management of the company, but also in the conceptualization and design and implementation of tailor-made digital solutions for his clients. Dominique?
Cool. Thank you very much. And is it... there it is. There are my slides. Cool. Yeah, but first of all, thanks to Lux Innovation for having me here today. I'm really happy to be a speaker of today's session and the episode, which has the title Design Thinking and Agile Methods for Digital Transformation. So I have been given a slot of 15 minutes, and for those 15 minutes, I've picked the topic to talk about principles and methodologies for building innovative digital solutions, because that's what we do at Cryos. First of all, then, let me give a short introduction of myself. If I click, there we go, cool. So my name is Dominique Brogard. I'm the co-founder, as mentioned, and co-director of Cryos. In a nutshell, what we do, we build and ship and maintain digital solutions for our clients. We are here located in good old Luxembourg, and we also have offices in the United States. So the plan for me in the next 15 minutes, we just jump to the next slide, is the mission that I have given myself is to provide you with a hands-on presentation that shall showcase how we at Cryos execute on the project. So we have some sort of process blueprint, which is a mixture of multiple known principles and methodologies in today's software development. And the strategy for this 15 minutes, or maybe less meanwhile, is that I'm going to break down things into two parts. First one is going just to talk about the basics and some technical theoretical background, especially when it comes to the following three items that I've picked, which is design thinking, continuous integration, and agile development. And then in the second part, I just try to give a practical example. So it's like a fictive non-IT related project that I have created that shall be used in order to showcase how we apply the process. Cool. Okay, but before we start, then let's maybe give you my understanding, or let's talk about what I consider to be for us at Kaios a typical starting point when we go and start helping clients. So clients for us, we work for companies. These companies, most often when we come, then, well, what's the starting point? They are a company that has they are operating, have since years. They have a successful business model. They have products. They have services. They have well-defined operating models in place, and they have an IT landscape in place. They have systems, most often very heterogeneous IT landscape with systems that supports the business processes that they have in place to be executed. So you can say in general things are going well, and if it would be in an ideal world, they could do so forever and everyone is going to be happy. But the reality is that these companies are most often in a highly competitive environment, which is it's making it imperative to these companies to improve. And I'm pretty sure that this is the reality for almost all companies, I would say. So there's price pressure, there's changing regulations, there's changing and expanding customer needs that all try to permanently damage that company, or let's say they just that it's the challenge that the company has to fight with. So companies have to adapt. I mean, it's like in nature that where you have to adapt to the environment and you have to bring the flexibility in order to survive. So it is like a common fact that companies continuously have to improve. They use instruments such as automation. Meanwhile, with all the systems in place, they use system integration. They try to connect the data. They try to optimize their processes, or if they have products that they sell to their clients, they have to continuously improve their products or their services. And they do so in order to adapt and increase quality and gain efficiency. So to be always ahead of the market. So this is all about, from my perspective, innovation, and they need innovation in order to transform their processes. So speaking of innovation, here is what I consider to be a good description of innovation. Innovation at its most basic is finding a different and better way to solve problem. Something innovative does not necessarily need to solve a previously unsolvable problem. An innovative idea often solves an existing problem in a cheaper or better way. And that is, from my perspective, when we talk about innovation, that is needed most often the thing that is the thing that is needed is that we don't have to invent new stuff. It's about companies having already products or having services in place or having processes in place. And these processes, they execute on those things every day because that is what they have in order to run their business, but they have to improve. So it's about finding a better way to solve these problems or to execute these processes. Or if it's about a product that they have, to find a better way to improve and to solve a certain functionality or feature in their product in a better way. So if I translate that understanding of innovation onto a process, what does it mean to have an innovative process? Having an innovative process, for me, an innovative process is something that allows its actor to do things in a different and better way. Same for innovative solutions. It's a solution that allows its user to do things in a different and better way. So do we need innovative processes in order to create innovative solutions? And if you think about software development as a process, then we can say it's a non-repetitive process. It's a building process to create digital products. And my answer is clearly yes, we need innovative processes when we want to create innovative solutions. So the software development, like other processes, has been subject to continuous change over the last years. And those changes are driven by new methodologies and principles. And the most important one that I would like to highlight today are about design thinking, which is, at least for me, in a nutshell, comes down to bringing and providing the routine for building a process that helps to ideate, understand problems, and ideate on and find solutions how to solve that problem. Continuous integration is also something that has become very important, especially because we live in a world where we no longer build monolithic applications, but where we have to build systems that heavily have to integrate with other systems. So continuous integrations allows us to minimize the risk of development completion and shipping. So especially when it comes to the end of the development process, you don't want to end up in a long delay where you first have to make sure that all the integration with other systems is working. So you try to do that along the way in the most automated way possible. And last but not least, agile development. Agile development is, for me, the instrument that helps to deal with the fact that we have continuous requirement changes. Okay, I will just walk through these items in a bit more detail, but I'm not going to drill down too much. So the first item, design thinking, what is it in a nutshell? As mentioned from my side, what I believe it's all about, it's some sort of a blueprint process that is there in order to help to have the creative approach for innovation. And innovation is about creativity, where you have to, it's an explorative process that you have to apply. And design thinking tries to bring in some sort of blueprint that you can follow in order to apply or come to the point that you have solutions, that you develop solutions that can be considered innovative. So the most important thing of design thinking is maybe the process that you can see on the right side. So it's some sort of a loop where you first of all try to emphasize or understand the problem that you have to solve. You're doing so by reaching out to the users or the people that you would like to solve the problem for. Then you go into the process step of ideating, trying to think about what are potential solutions, how can we best possibly solve the problem. But you're not going to decide yourself and pick one of the potential solutions that you have. Instead, you build prototypes that allow you to go and test the assumption that you have, or multiple assumptions that you have, that your solution is based on. And you go and test with the users that maybe should later on are the ones that can help you to understand whether or not your solution is going to fly, if that will really solve the problem. And from that type of loop and iteration, you learn again, and you can validate your assumption, or you can also come to the point that you see, okay, your assumption was wrong, so you adapt your solution, and you again come to the point that you prototype and then test again with the audience. And you do so until you come to the point that you have some sort of a stable solution that you have identified that is worth, that you can go and say, okay, I'm now going to develop this and make this available in a productive environment. Then talking about continuous integration, from my perspective, continuous integration tries to solve two problems. The first problem is that we are no longer living in a world where we have monolithic applications, but it's the solutions that we build nowadays, they are most often like modular systems that have to connect to each other. So that is a new challenge, or it's an additional challenge maybe in comparison to like 30 years ago. So you have to have on your radar when you build something that not only in itself the thing that you build is working, but that it's also working in the integrated environment with other systems that may not be part of your project. And continuous integration helps with the idea that instead of building and only at the end of everything putting that into some sort of integrated test environment where you can test those things together, continuous integration is used at the very beginning, from the very beginning, where you try with the help of automation to have an environment that allows you to test the earliest possible that the solution that you built, even if you work in iterations and you have first features or second set of features, that you have to that what you build is going to work. And then the third one, agile development. I just have to quickly walk through that because I'm running out of time. For me, agile development is all about trying to solve the problem that we don't know what we don't know, right? So we have to come with the attitude that we have to welcome changes. And there's an agile manifesto. And if you follow that, this basically drives the process of no longer going with a waterfall project or with a waterfall process, but instead you try to work in shorter iterations. Putting that all together, and this is the blueprint that we use at Cryos, you come up with a process that looks like this. So you have some sort of, the white thing is the explorative phase where you try to identify the needs, you try to understand what's the problem first before you write any line of code or before you go and try to build any type of architecture. You try to conceptualize the solution, so that's the ideation, and you loop in that little prototyping phase where you think about what are meaningful prototypes to get validation of your assumption that the concept that you try to put in place is going to fly. Once you reach that point, you get into the yellow loop here where you start building the solution, you follow agile principles. So you work maybe in sprints or whatever type of methodology here you can go and apply. At least what you try to do is that you chunk your work into smaller pieces so that you get early feedback by building something, going and present that, and learning from the presentation. And you do so until you have reached enough features or value in the solution that you've built so that you can go and put that alive. And this is what you see here with the green cycle. So once you go and ship something, you release it, but also you try to put methodologies or mechanics in place that monitor your solution so that you can also learn from your solution once it's in place. Okay, so now, as I said, a short practical example. I will just take 2 more minutes. Imagine that we would all be in the business of playgrounds. So the product here or the solution we need to build is a new playground. And the playground has features, and those features consist of things like you have a slide, you have a swing, you have a seesaw, you have a double tower, you have the process that I was just talking about, and you have our users, like kids that play on this playground. How would it look like now to apply the process? So the idea is that we built a new playground. So in the first phase, in the explorative phase, the first thing we would try to do is identify the need. So how should that new playground look like? And what you try to do here is that you first try to understand the problem. Doing so, for example, in this case, could be that you go and have interviews with the kids, or that you just observe the kids, how they play on the playground and what type of things they are using. And here you can see that in our example, we just have some sort of interviews where the kids express also what they prefer, what type of feature on the playground they prefer. So you can also try to derive from there the potential features that you would like to put in your playground. And you can go and validate by just trying out and talk to them if that would be a playground that they would like. Once you are clear that you know what you want to build and how your playground should look like, you then go into the implementation phase where you try to work in iterations. So in our case, it was clear that we want to create a swing, and that we need a swing that the assumption that was validated is that we built a swing that allows not only one, but multiple kids to swing together. If we now build that, we try out how it looks like, what's the most robust way. It's like the architecture that we put in place for that swing. And here you can see that we have maybe a first iteration where we built an architecture that we find out in testing that it's not robust enough. So we come up with a change of how that double swing should look like. And once we have that double swing in place, we can go and also deploy that and build a new playground. And hopefully then it's like you deploy a new product to the market where you can then see that the users are going to switch from the product and go to your product. It's the minimal viable product that you put in place. Your playground can grow over time. But here in my example, our playground just is going to have a double swing and a seesaw. And based on the interviews and the explorative phase that we have executed before, we know that the kids are going to like that, and it's going to be a better feature and a better playground than the two other playgrounds that they have. So yeah, that's it. That was short, as mentioned, and I hope it gave you some overview of the blueprint that we use at Cryos. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dominic. Thanks to you. And yeah, it was short but intense, and I've no doubt people will have some question to you that they could address, that I will address to you at the end of the session. So let's welcome Koen Klustermans now. Koen serves as the course manager for design thinking at the Digital Learning Hub, where he's committed to developing course programs that integrate creativity, empathy, and collaboration. With a robust digital background and a passion for design thinking, Koen empowers his students to apply these design thinking methods in digital but also real-world projects. Koen, please.
Good morning. Yes, I hear that my voice comes through. Yes, thank you, Nicolas, for the opportunity. And I'm going to talk a bit about design thinking. You will hear and see some overlap themes, of course, from the previous speaker, Dominic. I'm a training manager in the Digital Learning Hub, and we have a special mission, and that is to reduce the digital skills gap in Luxembourg. And this means that there's more and more digital products and services in our economy, and we want to be part of the creation of these products and services. And therefore, you need a good method, good culture in innovation for these digital services. And it's a challenge for everyone, because the digital transformation, as it's being called, is for everyone there, from the bakery to machine building companies, public services, even at home. We have challenges on that. So that's why we have also design thinking courses in our Digital Learning Hub, courses in more specific in the profession of UX, user experience design, and going all the way to cybersecurity and stuff like that. Enough said about Digital Learning Hub. Oh no, one more slide. This is how we try to bring awareness in these different topics about the challenges just there. So Dominic already talked a bit about what is design thinking, so I'm going to give you some similar perspectives. So I like also to address the word design, which is a more Anglo-Saxon word, and it has a reflection in our mind like, oh, it's about this aesthetics, or it's about art. And so I want to address first, like, art is actually a free creation, whereas design or making a concept is an answer a solution to a need from somebody else. And this can be your customer, but it can also be your internal colleague who is in a need and needs a solution. So that's the word design thinking. There, to explain that, I like to talk about David Kelly, who actually started to use this word design thinking and to make it more, to bring it more into the world. David Kelly is a professor at the Stanford University, started his career as a mechanical engineer and then evolved into design and design processes, and also co-founded the design agency IDEO. And the word design thinking came actually from the university, where they have a business school and they talk about business thinking. And so he was like, oh, we do design, we have a process, and so we are design thinking. And that's where this word came about. And you can take it very large, but you can also go really strict into the specific methods of design thinking, whereas you can also take it in a large concept. So giving this background, it comes from more the product or service design profession. And to give an example, imagine a customer comes to you and asks, oh, could you design for me a bottle? Yeah, well, very important is to find out what the context of this need is, because on the market there are so many bottles. So there we see that, oh yeah, it's a challenging thing to find out the right solution for this need. This brought this methodology, design thinking, and we see it also in different companies. That's why I'm now want to talk a bit about IBM, who also had to think about innovation and use the word enterprise design thinking in action. And they also have a lot of, next to Stanford University, also a lot of resources about design thinking. And it's about working more efficiently, and keep the people at the center of their work. And they also have some numbers that with the right culture of design thinking and the methods, you can go 2 times faster to market. Your return on investment is 300%, and your team efficiency can increase. These are numbers from, I cannot read, but for a couple of years ago. So it means that it is a proven methodology or culture. Depends how you implement this. I want also to address here the another resource. It's a Global Design Thinking Alliance, and it's an alliance of different academic institutions who have design thinking in their curriculum. A bit of history about design thinking, and I want to address actually here the word wicked problems already in the 60s as a definition in innovation and design thinking. And so what is a wicked problem? Well, when there are multi-layers, multi-dimensions into a problem, where humans are in equation, because a human is very unique, and if you have a very diverse user base, then it's becoming very difficult how to find out what is the problem we want to solve. It's a bit like the Swiss knife with a lot of features in it, and this could look like, oh, this is the solution, but it's actually a whole features list without seeing who is the person behind this solution. Maybe he only needs the knife on this tool and not all the other things. And then, so finding out what the right problem is the main focus in design thinking. So in the industry, we have these challenges like, okay, now we talk about Industry 5.0. We have these fast changes, ChatGPT, AI, ML. It's all going so fast. It's a multi-layered and element. We have cross-functional systems. We have digital consolidations of the different silos built up in the previous decades. And these are different departments. Every one has his own solution. And now, we have to put that together because we have now a big digital system we want to put in place. And then we have to talk with these people using these tools. And all this is getting wicked problem solving. Industry 4.0 was more about the data and exchange in manufacturing, and Industry 5.0 has more the focus on the people working alongside these machines and robots. So that's why I wanted to mention also this for the industry. An interesting reference is what you can find on the resources of the European Commission, what they think about, and the goal setting is about the research and innovation. So innovation and production, we're talking about agile, and innovation is actually finding the right need and finding the solution to it. Whereas production is about, I have something made for the 100 times and I want to make it now for the 101st time. So it's about efficiency, and that's has some overlap in how to approach this, but it's not always the same. In this sense, you have to be prepared to be wrong if you want to find something new. And it's a nice quote, but it can cost a lot of money. Okay, this GIF is not animating, but it's a rocket, as you can see. It's SpaceX, and this rocket in the middle of the image is going to explode. You see already a next rocket ready to test it. And this is what we know about SpaceX. Oh, you would almost think they love to explode rockets. And we know maybe the quote of Elon Musk, like, yes, if a rocket explodes, then I can learn a lot of things. If it goes all well, what's the learning thing? It's more like an acknowledgement of your findings. And we know they launched they exploded a lot of rockets, but they also launched plus minus 350 successful flights. And that's because they explode a lot of, well, not just exploded, but they did a lot of iterations on finding out what the right design concept is. And it can be very technical, like launching rockets. There are no really interactions with people. Yes, there are in the control centers, but the technology of a rocket is very technical. But if you talk about digital services and products, then we are immediately with this human in contact, and then it's very important to test this with low fidelity prototypes, because then we can communicate with the user and find out if we are targeting the right problem. And it doesn't have to cost a lot. So this is an example of prototyping. So as we see, the innovation process can be very confusing or chaotic, whereas production should be more efficient. That's what we try for. And that's where we could say design thinking by nature is agile, but not all agile processes are design thinking. And that's where we have a difference. And in the last years, we have now this concept of, or implementation of, design operations versus develop operations. And it's an interesting topic. being implemented more and more in bigger companies, but the concept is very important for also for small companies. Design dynamics, concept making, building concepts, prototyping and testing is another dynamic than the production or the implementation of it. And that's why design ops is becoming an important culture for a company. And the innovation should be taking care of three main pillars. It's about the human, the desirability. It's about the technology, must be feasible, and it's about business, must be viable. And this is being tested. Not going to go into this, and I want to finish the talk with other three pillars. If you want to build a culture of design thinking, of innovation in your company, then it should be taken in consideration that time and resources in innovation cost a lot. Don't put it in the same Excel as your production, because your return on investment will be like, you tested it already 20 times, and what's the result? Come on, guys. Well, it's not a production. Like Edison with his light bulb could say, well, it's not that I failed 999 times. I have taken 1,000 steps to come up with the light bulb. And this is the setting you have to build into your culture, and also take a box innovation next in a small, start small. And these are three pillars. Like, you need then to find a good team, a cross-functional team. You have to find your processes, iterative processes that helps to innovate and that build a good team, and find also a space where testing is the space to be. It's not production, it's a separated space. So these three elements brings a culture in your company, and it should be built up with quick wins, and it takes time. Culture change management takes time. With that, I think my time, I would give the floor back to Nicolas.
Yes, thank you very much, Con. And thanks for this valuable insight that are fully complementary with the one from Dominic, and clearly looking forward to the discussion that we'll have at the end. Now, finally, let's give the floor to Sylvain Chéry. Sylvain, co-founder of Agile Partner in Luxembourg, has transformed the company into a Luxembourg leader in agile development with his team of over 50 experts. Passionate about design thinking and agile methodologies, he places humans at the heart of his practices, creating innovative digital solutions while promoting corporate social responsibility and responsible digital practices. Sylvain, we're listening to you.
Thank you, Nicolas. It's a pleasure to be here today with you. So let's get it started to respect the timing. So yeah, I'm one of the co-founder of a company here in Luxembourg called Agile Partner. And basically, when we created the company 20 years ago now, the idea was at that time already to leverage agile methods to build digital products that would delight the customers, the users, while also creating fulfilling environments for the teams who are building those digital solutions. So this is a complex equation, and we believed already that in agile methods we would find what's required to solve this equation. But yeah, my talk today would I will try to answer the question: what's in it for you? We're talking about agile, and two other speakers already mentioned mentioned it quite extensively. So I would like to add my word on this. Let's try to make it a bit interactive. So first, please try to grab a piece of paper and a pen on your desk right now, and draw this arrow with two sides, so that you can follow me for the next few minutes. So on your sheet of paper, I'd like you to think about all the activities that, or some of the activities, most frequent activities that you can find and do in your company. Some of them are more creative, unique, uncertain, evolutive. Let's call them type A. And some others are more repetitive, series of the same thing doing again and again, with predictable outputs, known inputs, stable processes. Let's call them type B. So yeah, I'd like you to think about at least 10 activities that you could position on this axis, more on the type A side or more on the type B side. If you need some ideas, I've put some examples here. So yeah, think about your own activities. You can also use these ones, but it's more important to use the activities you can think of in your company, in your context. I'll give you a few seconds to do it. Type A are more creative, unique, evolutive, and type B repetitive, stable. Okay, so let's assume you have already a few ideas on your piece of paper. So keep it for yourself for the moment. So it was already clearly said, agile methods emerged in the software development back in the late 90s or beginning of the 20s. But yeah, that was not by chance. I mean, if you think about lean manufacturing, for example, lean manufacturing emerged in Japan post World War II, and for a good reason. I mean, there was a clear need for this country to rebuild itself and to share or to make the best use of scarce resources and to be very efficient in their new industry that was being rebuilt. So the Toyota system and lean manufacturing emerged in this context. Agile methods also emerged in software development for a good reason, because at that time when it emerged, it was when software development started to become an industry. So there was a need for more structured approaches and also ways to tackle the new challenges of this new industry. But it could have emerged in other areas, and it actually applies to many other areas. We at Agile Partner have already applied those same principles, practices, values in many other sectors like operations, product development, not necessarily digital products, marketing, sales, HR, customer service. So also for so in many different sectors, including industry and manufacturing industry players. So let's try to understand why it can be applicable to other areas. Well, I think fundamentally, Agile is solving various efficiency challenges that are that you can encounter yourself, you can find in many different types of activities, and maybe more in the type A activities, referring to the first part of the presentation. So more in type A style of activities. First challenge I'd like to mention is improving information flows, communication, and collaboration. Do you feel sometimes that people are not collaborating efficiently? Do you feel that information doesn't flow that seamlessly within your company or between your company and the partners and the stakeholders? So that's a typical challenge. Another one is accelerating decision making. That's something we find quite often, that in some organization it takes such a long time to take a decision, and even for small decisions, it can take a lot of time. So the original intention is not necessarily to give more autonomy to your teams and employees, but that's something you have to consider if you want to accelerate decision making, so that people on the ground, on the field, can take the appropriate decision very close to their work, to be very responsive, very reactive to the situation. Another challenges we find almost all the time, people are struggling with a lot of work, usually much more work that they can handle. So it's all about dealing with this high workload, with constant multitasking. It's very, very frequent that people multitask a lot, which is far from being an efficient way of working. So it's about setting priorities, and it's something that can be really difficult if you don't have the right tools or approach to do that. Another challenge is to learn fast, learn new skills, new capabilities, and adapt your way of working, because I mean, it's impossible that you work exactly the same way today as you did only 2 or 3 years ago. We are constantly learning new skills, and I'm not talking necessarily about IT or new technologies, but we are learning new tools, new processes, new ways of working to evolve with what our customers are demanding, but also what our new employees are bringing. Lots of new ideas, things are brought the new employees. So these four first challenge are really more applicable or present for type A activities, but there is also a challenge for type B activities. When you have to change, to evolve those activities, you enter into a change process, and managing change in general is something we are very I would not say very bad, but we struggle a lot with managing change. So that's also something Agile can help address typically. So amongst those 5 challenges, which one has the biggest financial impact for your organization? So now it's time to start the quiz. So I guess it will be, yeah, it started. You can start answering the quiz. Think about all those 5 challenges, and I'm sure all of you can relate to at least 2 or 3 of them. But which one has the biggest financial impact for your organization? That's the question. So use the poll and answer the question. Leave you a few seconds to do it. answers are starting to come. So yeah, you'll still have time anyway. Don't close the poll right now. We can leave it running for the moment. Okay, so once you've answered this question, I have two more questions for you. How much does it cost your organization? How much do you think this biggest challenge you have selected, how much do you think it costs to your organization? And don't enter the amount in the chat, please. Keep it for yourself. Write it down on your sheet of paper. But yeah, that's interesting to think. How much do you think it costs? How much do you think you lose in terms of revenues or wasted resources because of this challenge? And then, how much are you ready to invest to significantly improve the situation related to this challenge that you face? So this leads me to the very last part of the presentation is what we do at Agile Partner is we usually, one of the things that we do, we are coming into your companies as what we call Agile coaches. And I like this metaphor that an Agile coach is like a tea bag in your tea, in your cup of tea that will infuse your company culture. And this is done in several ways that can really help address the challenges that we've seen previously. We usually come with a lot of facilitation techniques, which are applicable, for example, as simple as running an efficient meeting, facilitating a workshop. So a lot of techniques, facilitation techniques, are useful for everyone every day. And this is maybe what can have immediate effects of an engagement with an Agile coach. It can have very rapid positive effects. Then we usually bring some values management practices, new management practices. Then sometimes a bit of organizational design. How do you structure teams? How do you organize the departments and how they interact together? How do you allocate people to the different departments and teams? But that's not necessarily the thing we advocate to start with. There's a lot more to do before that in terms of facilitation and new management practices for all the managers. Middle managers and top management are very much involved. So in the end, we play the role of change catalysts, and we help evolve the mindset and the culture of the organization. But this can take, of course, much longer time than the rapid benefits of facilitation and management practices. This is it, Nicolas. So we still have time for questions.
Thank you very much, Sylvain. And if we can if we can make Koen and Dominique come back on scene, that's the moment where we'll ask the question from the audience. So a pretty shy audience today, but there's a good one, I think, that comes directly to your in relation with your conclusion, Sylvain, because Amin asked us what is the typical duration of a digital transformation project. I guess that in his question, he's mentioning a digital transformation process based on design thinking and thinking and agility methodologies. And I think that, yeah, you perfectly illustrated that this transformation, that's a journey, right? That's not something that will have an end at one time. It's more about putting the right culture, design thinking approach in the organization. And if I may, I hope you won't get me wrong, but if I may adjust a little bit your question, it's more about how much time does it take for a typical company to get into this design thinking and agility culture.
If you don't mind, maybe I can start with a short example that come to my mind, and it's in the industry, in the industrial sector. We did this project for a steel manufacturer who wanted to digitalize the distribution, sales and distribution part of his value chain, and it's very exemplary of how it can happen. We started with a quick experimentation of only 3 months to build a new system that would be a minimal version, but working version of it, and it proved successful. So we continued, they invested more, and we built a very version 1, let's say, within a year. But we're now 8 years after that initiation, and the project is still running. It's not a project, it's a product now. It's part of their day-to-day, their offering, their product portfolio. So
if I may rebound and address the question to the other gents, could we say now that thanks to this, and based on your very good example, we could say that the organization should transform their approach of their digital assets, their IT platform, and see it as a product? Is it a good approach to see one function? Let's take the IT. Perhaps Dominic, you can illustrate on that. But it's not again the typical IT that is stuck into a position for years, but it's more about having again the culture of making it a product and making it evolving throughout the time.
First of all, I agree to what Sylvain has said, that digital transformation, and the question that was asked by Amin is then therefore tough to answer. It implies that digital transformation would be a one-off thing, which I don't believe it is. It's like digital transformation is an ongoing process, and it's not only an ongoing process on one thing or one component, but I think if you zoom into or if you zoom out of a company, then you will see that there's a variety of departments, each one's having their own processes, having their own systems, and you can consider all of them as having their own problems to solve, and they all have to deal with their own type of digital transformation journeys, so to speak. I mean, what digital transformation for me is at the end just also yet another buzzword for a transformation process that anyways company have since decades to do, which is all about gaining efficiency, increasing quality, and meanwhile, with the fact that we live in a more and more digital world, of course, we use more and more digital instruments in order to improve the processes that we have in place. So, speaking now of that question that you asked me regarding, should we look at is there a benefit if IT departments start to look at their systems as a product? For me, it doesn't matter. I think the most important bit is when I look at improving products or improving systems that have been built, there's not much difference, because for me, it's a system that has consumers. And
We've lost the sound. We can't hear you anymore, Dominic. Sorry. I don't know why. Is that your earpods that are running out of battery? So meanwhile, if you may, perhaps a last question more focused on you and your experiences, Koen, as you can see a wide range of company types in the digital learning hub. On my side, I don't know of many other methodologies that can be applied to so many industries, really. And which of these fields is the most receptive to the principle of design thinking and agility? Because it's really IT, as many people think, that is the domain that is willing the more applying this principle. Could you elaborate a bit on that? Do you have an experience to share with us? Perhaps a surprise also that came from your experience and from the students you have? We can't hear Koen. Yeah, okay. So.
Yeah, thank you. To the back office. Well, I guess I see that digitalization is a fast growing technology, and fast means transform fast, and then change management is key. And then we are not talking about changing machines, but it's giving people the opportunity to change, and that's where the wickedness is of the problem is, like, how can we facilitate this change? And so design thinking, as I largely translate this, is about solving problems together. And as we know, the saying is, if you go alone, you go fast. We learned that in school. You have to work alone, and then you get your results, your KPIs, or as an individual. But we know also the saying, if you go together, you go further. And that's the vision actually of an organization and a company. But both dynamics are important. And design thinking is about solving together. And then facilitating is key. And the technology is less of the main focus. It's about this culture of trusting each other, making failures, and then finding the right problems that gives where you can, as an organization, put your value in, and then make a production, but on an agile method. And it's an evolving process. And digitalization is so much faster than all other technologies. That's why it's UX design, user experience design, is taking over a lot of these methodologies, because the user and the technology are like nose to nose.
Okay, thanks a lot. So, gentlemen, I'm sorry we're running out of time. It was a very intense session and actually a lot of good interaction. I strongly encourage our audience to keep in touch with our speakers. Sorry for the ones that has not been answered, but we will make sure that the connection will be done between all of you. And again, I hope that this session has put the light on the topic first, but also on the specialists that are around here in Luxembourg and that could help you to deep dive into the domain. So just a few elements before we finish. First of all, a quick view on the next DIH events. So I can't elaborate on all of them, but surely you'll find all the details on dih.lu/events. So do not hesitate to look at this and to register. So that comes to an end. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot to our three valuable speakers again, and hope that you enjoyed this webinar, and see you in 1 month. Bye.